Welcome into the Browns Report, everybody. I'm your host, Joey O'Donohue, and we have major news for the Cleveland Browns. Star cornerback Denzel Ward's contract has been restructured. Why is Cleveland making this move at this early in the season? We'll talk about what it could mean for your Browns. But first, we are in a Week 2 sub-battle right now with the Baltimore Ravens channel here at Chat Sports. And they had a crazy good week after a crazy game between the Ravens and Bills. So they've gained 1.7K subs. We're up 902 subs. We can catch them. Come on, Browns fans. Not only do we want to beat the Ravens on the NFL field, but we want the Browns Report and the Browns fans to destroy the Ravens fans. So go ahead, make sure you are subscribed so we can win this Week 2 sub battle. And without further ado, let's get into the news. From Daniel Oyefusi, the Browns recently restructured Denzel Ward's contract, converting his $13.5 million 2025 base salary into a bonus. Cleveland now has a little under $18 million in cap space pair over the cap. This actually gives the Browns the 13th most cap space out of all 32 teams in the NFL. So it has freed up a lot of room for them. And Denzel Ward is going to have the minimum salary that he can so that Cleveland has more space. We'll talk about what they want to do with this cap space shortly, but the details for Denzel Ward are as follows. That $12.2 million of his nearly $5 million is now a signing bonus at the end of the season. So when you look at Ward's actual salary, it's $1.25 million, and the Browns have more cap space for the 2025 season. So interesting move here. I know that Cleveland is still suffering from what Deshaun Watson did to them. A little highway robbery, you could say, in that contract. But it really does beg the question, right? Why is Cleveland restructuring Ward's contract right now? What's the deal? You know, the windy meme, everybody? We're going to play speculation here on this show. We're going to dive in. Why have the Browns restructured Ward's contract? Is this good news for Ward? Is it bad? Is it going to be good for Cleveland later on? We're getting into some rumors. I have 3 theories that have been brought up so far through my research. And we're going to do a little rumor meter. So if you don't know how it works, we've got Bernie Kosar, Browns legend, to quantify the seriousness of these rumors. So if I put no Bernie's heads on a rumor, it's fake news. You don't have to listen to it. If I have one Bernie head, there's a little shred of truth to it. There's rumblings, but I'm not really buying into it. 2 Bernie heads, people are talking about it, okay? There's a little bit of buzz. I would say it's around average. 3 Bernie heads, it's pretty likely that it will be the case. And finally, 4 Bernie heads, you can believe it. I think it's the most likely scenario. So let's get into the theories for Denzel Ward's contract restructuring. First, are the Browns freeing up cap space to make a big move? Are they going to go out, get a wide receiver potentially? Right? Why are we clearing this space? Is it to get someone right now in 2025? I honestly give this 3 Bernie heads. I think there's a good chance that this is the case. The fact that Cleveland played such a close Week 1 game with the Bengals, maybe they saw some positive signs that they're a good team. The defense is clearly going to be good for Cleveland this year, right? So maybe Cleveland thinks there's a chance to win multiple games this year. Let's make a push, free up cap, and get somebody. The Browns could use another wide receiver in that room. You know, we didn't see much from Thrash on Sunday. Larvland was inactive. So maybe they want to go get a splash, a big receiver, especially after all the drops we saw on Sunday against the Bengals. They could also use another corner. They're still trying to figure out that CB3. A lot of snaps were split amongst the Browns' depth chart, including with Miles Harden. And we know Ward and Newsome are the 1-2. Who's going to be the 3? Maybe Cleveland's trying to get Ward some help. And Ward's like, all right, I'll make some of my salary a bonus. They could also use a linebacker to help Carson Schlesinger. Schlesinger is an absolute stud. We are so lucky to have him. But because JOK will not return until 2026 probably, they could use another linebacker and offensive lineman. Jack Conklin got poked in the eye. Stefanski said he's progressing very well, though. Doesn't seem too serious. But we don't want to chance anything. Cleveland has had OL injuries for years. Also, move that Cleveland might make is getting rid of Jerome Ford. I mean, he had 8 yards on 6 carries on Sunday. Someone in my comments said that he only had 8 more yards than Judkins, and Judkins didn't play. I mean, it seems like Ford is slower and they're moving on from him. Sampson got the bulk of the load against the Bengals. Judkins will be back very soon, hopefully, to play the Ravens. And maybe another move Cleveland's going to make to either get more cap is cut Jerome Ford or trade him. Send him out of there. I don't know, but it seems like this is a chance for Cleveland to make a move with the more cap that they have freed up. And if they're contending, if they looked at the Bengals' performance and they said, okay, we're right there to contend with good teams. We're a piece away. We're 2 pieces away from being over 500 this season. Then I do think that is worthy of 3 Bernie heads, and Cleveland will go out and get someone. But what do you think we need? What position group out of the ones I mentioned, or maybe another one that you saw Browns lose to the Bengals Sunday, you're like, we need this. Comment down below what position group Cleveland should target in a trade or a signing. Let me know. I want to see who the Browns faithful wants us to get. Next rumor. This one might sting you a little bit. Denzel Ward is getting traded. What is going on in Cleveland? Are they freeing up some space and getting ready to move on from Ward? Remember, he signed a 5-year contract extension that was worth $100.5 million. So the numbers kind of add up, right? Ward is pushing 30 years old. He has injury issues. And a lot of teams that are making a Super Bowl push would love to have Pro Bowl Denzel Ward on their roster. He's a top 3 corner in the league. And because Cleveland has to eventually give him $100 million, you know they need more cap room. And trading him would help the Browns cap for sure. Once again, Deshaun Watson absolutely robbing Cleveland at the moment, sitting on the bench with $200 million guaranteed. And this rumor is picking up a lot of steam on social media, particularly by Philadelphia Eagles fans. They are screaming out that they want Denzel Ward. I mean, seriously, if you go on Twitter right now and you look up Denzel Ward, all I got was Eagles fans saying Eagles are about to get Ward. He's coming into Philly. How he's going to do it again. They're screaming for him. I would be too. But is there actual truth to this rumor? Well, I'll tell you what I think in just a moment. But first, let's get into our sponsor on today's video. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Honestly, I'm so ready that football is back on Sundays. All is right with the world. And I'm big into daily fantasy with Prize Picks. I'm obsessed with it because it makes all the games more entertaining. And before the Browns play, I lock in on all my players in my lineup and their player projections. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Plus, Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you could still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You could double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And I've got another lineup with Browns players for this week. First of all, I'm going big. I'm trying to win some money. I've got David Njoku more than half a touchdown. I think he gets in the end zone against Baltimore. They gave up 40 to the Bills. Then I've got more than 66.5 receiving yards for Judy. He was Cleveland's leading receiver against the Bengals, and I think he's going to be hungry to make up for some of the drops he had. I'm going more on Judy. And then finally, Prize Picks giving us an awesome deal where you can get Travis Kelce, half a receiving yard, more than that. I think those picks are going to be correct. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay, I am giving this Denzel Ward trade rumor 1 Bernie head. There's slight talk of it, as I showed you, but no way, no how can Cleveland make this move. There were a lot of positives against the Bengals games. They can be a good team. And it makes no sense that they would trade Ward, right? Like, why would they go ahead and pay Myles Garrett all that money in the offseason when Garrett requested a trade if they were just going to trade their other star? That doesn't make sense. That would frustrate Myles as well. Because if you ship out Ward, you're saying it's rebuild time. You've got a lot of good rookies, and you trade the star corner who, like I said, had a $100 million extension. That's rebuilding. Myles would be pissed off about that. He wanted his boy to be there. You've got the 2 cornerstones on defense, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. You're not going to pay one $40 million a year and then get rid of the other. Doesn't make sense. And it would absolutely crush the Browns secondary. The defense looked good against Cincinnati. They held Cincinnati to 7 yards in the second half. Like, don't go give up CB1. Chase had 2 catches. That's unheard of for Jamar Chase. So you've got a good thing going in the defense right now. It would ruin Cleveland. And honestly, just as a fan, emotionally, like, I'd probably cry. I would literally go on YouTube, look up Denzel Ward highlights, and just start watching them as a tear rolls down my face. He has been, so good to watch in Cleveland. I love Denzel Ward. Please keep him, Cleveland. I think there's no way they actually get rid of one of the best corners in football. Finally, is this move being done to free up cap to roll over into 2026? And you know what? I say this is the most likely theory out of all the theories we have examined today. That Cleveland is trying to have cap for next season because they have a lot of players that are potentially becoming free agents. We're talking 27 potential free agents for the Cleveland Browns in 2026. And there's some big names on that list. I mean, it's more than half the roster. Of course there is. Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, contract years for the 2 former All-Pro offensive linemen. Devin Njoku's on a contract year. You remember he got the big extension worth over $50 million. Well, that's only through the 2025 season. Joe Flacco as well. We have him on a 1-year deal. Greg Newsome, who also has a pretty big salary right now, one of the biggest on Cleveland in terms of actual salary, as well as Ethan Pocic. They're on contract years. Punter Corey Bojorquez, who is one of Cleveland's best players. Honestly, I wouldn't want to lose him or punt returner, kick returner, wide receiver DeAndre Carter. Devin Bush, who had a great debut against the Bengals, second on the team in tackles, contract year. Jerome Ford, don't think we'll actually be keeping him, but it is worth noting that this is the final year of his contract. And Martin Emerson Jr., we don't even get to see this year, but has had some decent seasons for Cleveland in the past. So not only that, but Ward is under contract through to 2027. So you could make an argument that they're getting ready to give him an extension with 2 years left on his contract, but I don't think that's the case because of his injury history. I think they want to see Ward play a full season first before they dive into that possibility. So it's most likely that Cleveland needs to pay their players that are their contract's going to be up at the end of the year, and there's a lot of them to pay, like I said. So that's my most likely scenario, that they freed up cap for Denzel Ward. They can roll it over into next year and hopefully get back David Njoku, Joel Bitonio, and some of the key players that they really like. Heck, maybe even Joe Flacco if he balls out all year and we want to sign him to another year deal. Let's let him play till 41, 42. If you made it to this point in the video, folks, that means you're a real one, a diehard Browns fan just like me, and you wanted to know what's going on with Denzel Ward's contract and what it means for Cleveland. So comment woof woof if you're watching this right now so I know who the real Browns fans are in the comments section. We appreciate you so much just for being here and staying with us all season long. And once again, make sure you subscribe so we can beat the Ravens channel in subscribers. Let's do this, Browns fans. Let's have a great season, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Browns Report.